You know, this story is so sad and it's so heavying that I just, like, yeah, I'm not having a good time telling it. But anyway, whatever. Please go check out the previous part to gauge your bearings, to understand where we're at. Just a little bit of a recap. In the last part, I was explaining to you guys how it is that a man lost the best woman, basically, he's ever had, and the one that was supposed to become his wife, because he listened to a bunch of deadbeat little children boys at the expense of his ride or die. Anywho, I also made mention of the fact that the same guys that cost him his wife, essentially his future wife, went on right ahead to marry their main chicks, and those women today, I don't even know what their lives are looking like now that they're older, and so not as attractive probably. In the climate, in the lives of such misogynistic men. Like, there's just no end to the insanity of these guys. It doesn't stop. And I know that that's a thing, guys, because my dad never stopped being a pest. He never stopped being a jerk all the way up until the end of his life. And he was similar to the kinds of guys that my ex-boyfriend's friends were. Despite losing everything, despite losing a good wife, despite losing his family, despite ending up just this cowardly alcoholic, never did he ever get to a point, even at the very end of his life, when he's like, oh, I really messed up. He just was isiboto that died without the preparedness to confess that he really messed up. He was very successful at some point, and he lost everything because he was a total buffoon. So it just, yeah. So these ladies, there's nothing bright coming for them, that married these guys that were obviously already manifesting horrible behaviors. They're headed for a future of either divorce or extreme disquiet in a marriage. But, you know, they love to protect bad boyfriends. That's just the sad and uncomfortable thing. And they also love to fall pregnant by ridiculous men. Even though they have got strong conviction that I need to get out of here. I will then go on right ahead to tell you, indeed, a story of one such main chick. Remember the girl that in the very beginning of our relationship, we went to that house party where we met my ex's brother, and they went inside the house telling us to stay in the car because they were going to check the coast. And this woman told me that whatever, they're not checking the coast, they're going to take drugs. And I didn't believe her. That girl, I told you that she was the main chick of some prolific cheat, and I had seen a whole bunch of the side pieces. This chick, her man, after, I remember one time my boyfriend bought me flowers and gave them to me in front of both of them, and this guy said to my boyfriend, hey, I'm not the type to buy flowers, boy, or strong. I'm not the type to buy flowers, friend, you are strong. And this woman said to me, not to me, but to him, oh, but I want flowers. I would be cool with flowers. So this man prided himself in being so, like, girthy, strong, and androgynous, like a tactless, careless man, that he prided himself in not being the kind to basically dote over his girlfriend with flowers and chocolates. He imagined it a weakness to be the kind of guy to be that romantic. And his girlfriend complained in front of me and my boyfriend about the fact that she would love to get flowers. Yeah, she had a deadbeat boyfriend that kept on cheating on her, giving her a whole bunch of grief, causing her to cry. One time we confided with each other, and we became friends on Facebook, fast friends actually, and she basically told me that I really want to leave. Let's say his name was Jabu. I really want to leave Jabu. I'm struggling to leave, but like I can't be in a relationship like this anymore. And about a year progressed from the date that we had that conversation, and I bumped into her at a party that I went to with other of my friends, like the friends that I had from university. And when I saw her, when I saw her there, I was like, oh my goodness, what name did I give her? Tutu, I don't know. Let's say her name was Tutu. I saw her, I was like, Tutu, oh my goodness, girl, whoa, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, wow, like it's been a year since we last spoke, so what's going on? Last time we spoke, she had told me she was desperate to leave Jabu, and she was like, no, I'm good, girl, I've got a baby now. I was like, oh, congratulations. She's like, yeah, with Jabu. I was like, whoa. A year later, she's pregnant with Jabu's kid. She falls, not a year later, sorry, she is the mama of Jabu's kid. When 3 months before falling pregnant, I suppose, she was like, I want to leave. That's the thing, these guys, when you threaten to leave, when you're like basically out of the door, witchcraft, so that you could come back, and then they try to trap you with pregnancy. And that's what my ex tried to do shortly after I broke up with him. And I'm gonna get into that to explain what in the world happened there, right? This girl, when she was telling me that she was a baby mama, she had lost the baby fat. She was looking her same size, but she was a mom now of a child that was just like maybe 2 or or 3 months or whatever. Like maybe like yeah, just newly born, whatever. She wasn't fat. Yeah, she was a baby mama now, and she was therefore stranded with Tutu. And I remember just thinking, no, she was Tutu with Jabu. And I remember thinking, yo girl, now you're gonna have to either marry this guy or be the baby mama giving baby mama drama of an ex-boyfriend that frankly you can't stand. I did not say that in so many words, but like I just looked at her on some congrats and I moved on. The same woman ended up wreaking havoc in my life with witchcraft, because that's the thing, they end up envying or coveting women that have not settled for these bad guys. And when a man traps you with pregnancy, when he impregnates you, when you literally at the time when you want to leave, you ultimately wake up literally not even after you've given him the baby, but in the middle of your pregnancy. So there's a lot of postpartum depression in these women. There's a lot of regret, but they feel stranded. It did not just happen with Tutu, but it also happened with my best friend, who in the run up to her falling pregnant by her deadbeat baby daddy of 10, right? He had like 5 kids by 5 different baby mamas. In the run up to that, we had a conversation. I remember we were chilling in my car outside of my mom's apartment, my mom's house, and we were like, girl, we both want to get, I had given my life to Christ, and I was trying to basically evangelize my friend and make her more sober for the gospel, since she'd been listening to the gospel all her life, but she never really actually truly gave her life to Jesus. And I was telling her, first of all, fornication is a sin, and she was like, I know girl, I'm so convicted. And I was also telling her that God can give us proper husbands, God can bless us with men that make sense. And she's like, I know girl, I want to leave. But the uncomfortable and unfortunate thing with my friend is that instead of waiting on Jesus, she kept on trying to find another person to replace this guy. And she was flirting with some dude in her office. She wanted to leave this man and told him that, look, I don't want to be with you anymore. I really don't know if I want to do this relationship anymore. And this guy was like, yo, minangyoshia. And lo and behold, literally just like 3 months down the line, I never stopped talking with my friend. She was, like I said, my best friend. But 3 months down the line, she's like, huh, girl, I'm pregnant. I'm like, congratulations. Congratulations. What can I say when a woman is already pregnant? Indeed, in the middle of her pregnancy, when she was carrying sadness, she was not herself. She was unhappy. On the day that she delivered, I went to go and see her with my boyfriend, the guy that I dated for 2 months on Telezing, that used to work for MTN. We went to go and see her in the hospital. On the day she had given birth, she sent text messages to everybody saying the baby has arrived. And we went. Mill Park Hospital, go Parktown. And yeah, no, she was not happy. She was a new mom with a new baby, and she was just sitting there in the hospital bed, basically looking like, why am I here? And all I could say was, whoa, baby's so cute, adorable. Oh, I wish I could hold the baby. That's all I could do. Just congratulate her on the individual that's around. I went then on right ahead to, I guess, continue to see her during the week. In the coming weeks, I would come to basically help her along during her maternity leave season. You know, new mom, but she was so unhappy, and I could tell. And lo and behold, from that time, that's when my best friend started to slap me with witchcraft. So these women, they capitulate with these men because they don't give themselves to Jesus, and then they hurt other ladies because they don't want to be the only ones that ultimately either married or gave a baby to a guy that they wanted to leave, but strangely couldn't. They wanted to leave, but strangely couldn't. These guys, it's like when you get to the point. Remember I told you guys that my ex, there was a time when we had a pregnancy scare because I was vomiting all over the show. I actually had pneumonia, but since I was vomiting, I thought it was pregnancy. And I told him that I said to him, what if I'm pregnant? And he said to me, we're not ready to have a baby. And I was saddened by the fact that he was basically suggesting abortion when he was happy to go and be the baby daddy of a stepdad, not a stepdad, sorry, of a kid that is not his. So to be the step baby daddy of a kid that's not his, belonging to that Jezebel lady that I told you guys about. Yeah, well, this ex that had once upon a time, when things were hunky-dory good between us, when things were at the height of our adoration for each other, when I was basically in and of myself unprepared to leave because I was so in love with him that I could not see myself getting out of that and being happy in any way, shape or form. At that stage, he, upon me encountering a pregnancy scare, basically recommended an abortion. But when it comes to a time when you want to leave a man that is not ready to have you leave him, whatever apprehensions he might have about being a father, he throws them to the side and says, I'm gonna make you my baby mama because that's the best way to bank you and keep you here. Even if I'm not yet ready to be a dad, I want frankly to wait another 3 years. Mara, you want to get out of the door right now, so I guess let's make a baby. Let's make a baby. So a lot of like these women, they fall pregnant at literally the precipice of exiting. They've got bags packed and everything. They want to get out, and then boom, I'm pregnant. They know that this is true. Like, these women that have settled in this way, they know. Well, today they are married to deadbeat men because they fell pregnant just at the precipice of exiting somehow. And for me, it's like, these are women that are on the contraceptive pill. How are they pregnant? These are women that were actively trying to prevent pregnancy. Like, for 5 years, and you don't fall pregnant. And then next thing, just when you want to leave, you do fall pregnant. It's called witchcraft. It's called spiritual manipulation. I could not understand how 3 months after my girl told me that she wants to leave her man, I could not understand how under heaven she fell pregnant because she was on the pill. Just like me. Not once did we ever have to deal with the decision to abort a pregnancy because we didn't fall pregnant. We were preventing. And here it is that you're pregnant just 3 months from a certain conversation. Just like, you know what, guys? South Africa is filthy. This country, the amount of witchcraft that is practiced on the floor. The amount of sorcery that people are involved in is astronomical. Like, it's a mess. It's a chaos. In the cosmos. It's loud. And you think I'm the one here that's in trouble. You like, people probably think that I am the one here that's cursed. I'm the girlfriend that a man wanted to stay, that did not give him a child even though I was not prepared to fall pregnant. I'm the woman that is still single, fine, at 38, but I'm not married to a man I can't stand. I'm the woman that frankly stands still to get married because I'm still beautiful. So I'm cursed? Really? Okay. Well, yeah, I will look cursed until I finally obviously am blessed. But they look at my life in these temporary conditions and think that I am the one that is cursed. Jesus is the difference. He literally is the thing that is the unique identifier as to what it is that makes me set apart from all these other women. Jesus is the variable. He's the variable, like in the worst way. Anyway, so here it is that my ex-boyfriend had disregarded the living daylights out of me the way that he did. And all of these rechtes of his boys got to keep their women despite being disrespectful. Despite these women wanting to get out because I'm sick and tired. Guys, just to explain to you, the epidemic of sorrow in the lives of the women, right? I will give you yet another story. I'm sorry, I know I can be long-winding, but y'all need to understand how bad the situation is and why women end up becoming so mean, so monstrous. Why, despite having been such sweet, coy young girls, young women, they end up such horrible older women. They are so mean and insufferable. I will explain. One lady she was a CA, a chartered accountant graduate, Nabala, right? She was dating my ex's best friend. She dated him after me, not after me, but like as in after my ex and I started to be together, like maybe 2 years into our relationship. That's when they started dating. This guy beforehand was all over the show, loose cannon, just sleeping with just about anything. That's not rechte. Finally, he met this lady, right? And I remember when I first met her, I was like, this is yet another one that's gonna come and go. Next week, Robana somebody else. But somehow miraculously she stuck, right? She stuck around and she became Imedi and everything. This chick was low-key arrogant. She had academic pomp, and I don't even understand why, because I was also an academic, but I guess she looked at the rest of us, the circle, look, the women in question, the guys, we all nereba, like, it's a way that chick had academic pomp, because we were all getting very impressive degrees at university, but when arrogance slaps you, it slaps you, it slaps you. I guess maybe the reason why she was that way is because the guy that she was with was a millionaire, right? My ex's best friend was a millionaire. He owned restaurants and everything, type establishment thing, so maybe that's why she was so pompous. She absolutely liked humility, like in the worst way. I didn't like her in comparison to all the other ladies, but despite not liking her, it does not matter that she was unlikable because she was arrogant. Bottom line is, she was a woman that was suffering literally with the exact same thing that we all were suffering with, so you would do well to basically pounce on camaraderie with the rest of us. But anyway, this arrogant lady did not have this coming nonetheless. Ain't nobody deserved that, right? The boyfriend guy, the way Nam Muagading with my boyfriend, like I said, he was my boyfriend's bestie, right? The way that this guy used to talk about his girl with my ex, my ex and I, we were basically gossips, or he was a gossip, I don't know. He used to tell me all the dirty laundry of these bad male friends of his, and frankly, I low-key had this quiet in my spirit on some, how does my man hang out with so many nasty guys and in and of himself not have this rub off on him? Lo and behold, years down the line, I did finally find out that it did rub off on him, okay? But this guy used to talk about Imediake, like she's just something, Jay, that he toys around with, and she's just around. He basically made it clear to my boy that he doesn't, my man, that he wasn't even trying to marry her. But whatever, she can do what she wants. And this chick just took so much nonsense from the guy. She took so much incredible nonsense that I could not understand why you don't just leave. You are a whole academic. You're gonna have a very strong career in the future. You don't need a millionaire man to pay your way. You proper don't. On top of that, it's not like he was a very generous millionaire either. He was stingy. He was not the kind of guy to basically shower his woman with gifts. If you have that kind of money, that's why I get guys with money. I sugar. Like what? Like he was not even the kind to shower her with gifts, like spoil her with like trips overseas, nothing. For her, it was just about having the title of being with a man that is a millionaire. But he was miserly towards her, and it was like, girl, you would do better to be with some dude that you went to university with that also studied accounting, really frankly, in the office, that is yet to make his first million, frankly, but that's gonna love you and buy you flowers and settle for this buffoon. But anyway, she had an attitude, so low-key I was like, you have this guy coming all up in your girl. Anywho, as if though that was not even bad on its own, the fact that he used to speak badly about her like she ain't Jack. One time he showed my boyfriend, I was kind of irritated with that, her nudes. He showed my man her nudes, like matswele and everything. She sent him her nudes. And while he was hanging out with my boyfriend, who was his best friend, and he was like, ha ha ha, let's say her name was Label. He was like, ha ha ha, look at what Label sent me. And my boyfriend was like, whoa, dude, that's your woman's breast and like lady parts gawking at me. How in the world are you basically making your lady like a Playboy model? Like literally I'm paging through her pics in a dirty magazine. How in the world are you gonna show me your woman's lady parts? How are you gonna do that? And like this dude, like, he was like, kulega boy, like relax, like it ain't Jack, I'm just trying to show you how hot she is. For real? That's how much of a jerk this guy was. Here is this chartered accountant lady headed for chartered accountancy. Basically, she was studying hard at varsity. Here is this chartered accountant basically being put on an analog version of OnlyFans. Analog version of OnlyFans, all up in my boyfriend's grill. Proper. Like, you know, South Africa has such a pandemic that men in this country date women, they record videos with them sexually, right? They do sex tapes, and then they hide, like they have sex with women, hiding cameras in their houses, in their bedrooms that are recording. And then next thing, this chick is on a porn site. Next thing, this chick has committed suicide, or her entire reputation has been decimated. Her office building sees this insofar as they watch XXX sites. It's exactly like in the movie The Perfect Guy. You know how Michael Ealy leaked a sex tape of Sana Nathan or whatever to the colleagues, and she lost her job. Like, yeah, she lost her job type thing. Like a woman with a whole thriving career has got like something on a XXX site. This dude was doing something bordering on that. This best friend of my ex, something bordering on that, where your woman sends you a nude thinking this is just between us. It's like your medi, and then next thing the nudes are all up in your boy's friends, like in your boy's eyes. Like my boyfriend saw the naked body of that woman. I was so irritated with that, not only because of what that guy did, but because I did not want my ex seeing another woman's breasts, for crying out loud. And coochie, like everything, like pretty much a full frontal. He showed my ex his girl's full frontal, and my ex just kept on hanging out with that like son of a gun. That's what's good. That's what's good. That's these are the women that prided themselves in, you know, getting the ring. You know, when the guy proposes marriage to you. I remember my best friend, like when she was very heavily pregnant before she finally gave birth to that baby. She had this like bling bling money and a thing, and it was so big, so rocky on her finger, and she was just like walking around out here in these streets with this thing. Malobola we're gonna get taken out any minute now. Things fell apart between us before then, or my whole life crashed and burned before I could even attend the lobola celebrations and whatnot. Type establishment thing. Nonetheless, she was busy walking around with this ring, and the sad thing about these ladies is just because they get that bling bling money and a thing, to them it's like, at least I'm waving it, but you're the wife whose full frontal your man's friends have seen. But hey, you got the ring. That same girl came to MTN as an auditor. I told you she was an accountant of sorts. They hired the firm that she was working for as an auditor a year after my ex and I broke up, after Nonzi and I broke up, right? And she saw me. She was in a coffee shop. I went to the coffee shop to go and get me some coffee. I was already rocking this ring. I bought it like literally in my first year of being saved in Jesus Christ. I was wearing this ring, right? This ring is a ring that I bought because to display my allegiance and my marriage to Christ. Inside it's inscribed wed to Christ. Rocking this ring, walking up and down happy, walking on sunshine in the office, right? I go to the coffee shop to get coffee, and this chick is like, Carabo! And I'm like, oh my goodness, Lebu! How you doing, label? Whatnot. She was always arrogant, always pompous, always one of those snooty gossips. Let me see what's going on here. Sizing me up, as you can see, scanning me up and down, right? And we talk, we're like, hey, how are you? Are you good? Ooh, are you still with, let's say the guy's name was Zuzu. Are you still with Zuzu? And she's like, yeah, no, Zuzu and I are still together. What's going on with you? Are you married? Are you married? She sees this ring, and I'm like, no, I'm married to Jesus. And she looked at me on some, oh, I see. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm still with Zuzu. Type establishment thing. Like, whoa. And I was like, Batung Chiki. It's almost as if though she imagined me as one who had lost the life that I could have gained. Because apparently, allegedly, my man, the one that I had, is now so great that why in the world did I leave? And she was still stranded in a relationship. All I could think about was, the love of my life. You're busy looking at me like I lost a good guy. But understand that, girl, I have never even gone to the beach to swim with you on holiday, and yet I know what your vagina and your breasts look like because your man, I know what my boyfriend knows what your coochie and your boobs look like because they were shared with him on a pic, and you are priding yourself in still being the girlfriend headed towards marriage of a GBV guy, gender-based violence guy that shares your nudes. And one of these days, it might even, if at all he gets really upset with you, find itself on a XXX site, and you think that I'm the one here that walked away from a really great guy. You think I'm the one that's missing out on all the beautiful things that you're all still doing together as couples. She was priding herself in successfully prospering to be Imedia, a guy that could not hold down a Medi because he was wealthy, and being wealthy, all the ladies now could no longer be trustworthy, and she got to like hang out with him for a couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised if Zozo or Zuzu married her. Like, Lebu, you deserve each other because you were an arrogant girl, but you are married to an unloving man who can't even splash his millions on you, right? And on top of that, he shares your nudes with his friends. So if at all you become his wife, Lady Chica, now it'll no longer even be him sharing the nudes of a girlfriend with his boys, but of his wife. Whatever happened to a man wanting his woman's body to be just his? That is the sexually perverse culture that we are living in, where men pride themselves in their girlfriends twerking and looking so good while doing it that other men salivate after their girlfriend's goodies. And it's like, whoa, how upside down the world is. It's written in God's word. Woe to you who call bitter sweet, sweet bitter, salty bitter, whatever. Like, exchange good for evil. Wait, woe to you who call black white, white black, gray green, green gray. Yeah, these things are an abomination to Emmanuel. And in these last days, men pride themselves in having such sexy women that their breasts can just be like paraded before the eyes of other men, and they ain't got no issues with it. On that day, after my ex told me the story of him seeing the nude of this female, I stopped, naughtily recording anything with my ex and I using his phone and basically keeping the images. Literally, I grabbed his phone right then as he told me that story, and I deleted every last licentious image of me and him on his phone. He was like, I would never do that to you, baby. That's what he used to call me, baby. I'd never do that to you. What in the world? Why are you being paranoid? That's what he did, and that's why I'm telling you, I'd never do this. But my ex ended up so bitter, so resentful of me, so hateful, so irritated with me after leaving him, that if at all my nude images had stayed in his possession, he might have spread them all over the show, showing Wonkumuntu, maybe even uploading them on a XXX site, because he became a monster. He became a menace thanks to involvement in the occult. He became a monster. So it's a good thing I deleted everything nasty, lewd, licentious from his cell phone device, because you never know when a dude is gonna go bitter. If a guy that's not bitter, that's still happy with his girlfriend, can do that, what then of one that is bitter? Guys, as it isn't that these guys are doing in these streets. Not every one of us is happy to be a celebrity because your news are online everywhere. Abanye abantu, they've got honest jobs in corporate. Other people just want to be lawyers. Other people just want to be project managers. Other people just want to be teachers. And manja, when your students are having circling in the school as a teacher, your nudes, because your boyfriend, your baby daddy got upset and leaked them, it's over for you and your career. Your school might not have a right to fire you based on that, but just because you're a teacher and children might be offended, you will end up quitting that job. Quitting. I know of a woman back in the day, I didn't know her personally, I read read the story in the newspaper who basically committed suicide. Ironically, her name was Karabo. Yo, the evil of these guys. Those are the kinds of boyfriends that these guys were, and these are the kinds of wives that they now today are. They married that, and they think I'm the one that's not blessed. They think I'm the one here that's cursed. They think everything of mine that's falling apart is an issue. Proper. They look at my life and they say that I'm cursed, but they are married to men that share their nudes, married to men that trapped them with pregnancy, married to men that never stayed faithful, married to men that won't ever listen to them speak, married to men that despite being millionaires can never ever dote on you, buy you even one pair of Christian Louboutin shoes, married to men who make it their prerogative to basically shatter women because they have to be handled. A woman, whoa. South Africa is the worst country to live in as a woman because we get killed, massacred. Gender-based violence is a thing, and guess where else it operates, runs rampant in these streets? Does a thing in sorcery. A lot of my girls stayed with guys, I am not even lying to you, that they wanted to leave, and then somehow pregnancy, all of a sudden pregnancy, just stranded, ninja. And even if they did finally prosper to go, everybody knows how much harder it is, especially as a woman, to your dating pool significantly shrinks when you have a child, because there are some guys that are not prepared to be with a woman. It reduces your prospects. Not every guy is anti a woman that has a child, but there are a lot of guys that if you have a kid, they're like, I'm sorry, no, I got a clean slate and I'm not trying to do this. So when then your options are reduced because of being the baby mama of a guy that frankly even before you fell pregnant you didn't want him, he's taken you, you're gone. The prospect, the romantic future, gone, just like that, just gone. And people think I'm the one actually that's cursed. Anyway, so moving right back then to talking about my ex. This man that had it so good in his relationship that he ought to have severed himself from some bad boys. All of those bad boys, despite being bad and were in dire need of desperately being left by better women than what they were, got to marry those women while he lost her. He was the better man than them all, and yet he's the one that lost the woman. And the only reason why the woman even stayed with him for so long was because he was the better man. What caused us to ultimately finally once and for all break up was the fact that he became similar to his friends in a way that was now insufferable. His personality had changed and I couldn't take it. But before we broke up, I told you guys in the previous part that some other previous parts ago that I went to a during one of the breakups, because he gave me a whole bunch of attitude, not attitude, that too, but he had come home to my apartment. We never used to live together, at 2 a.m. and I told him to go home. After that we broke up, and he stopped begging me. That's the thing. Like, everybody was telling him, that's how you train her. He was being man cave, grunted over, growling, menacing men. Kept on telling him, don't beg, don't ask her to come back. Like, you hurt me, you break me. And then when I take action in light of what you did to break me, you then get told by your boys, don't beg. So you hurt me, and after some time progresses, I must then apologize to you because I miss you, despite you hurting me. Things were getting there with my ex, just a level of unhappiness in a relationship that is frankly unacceptable, but nonetheless, he imagined that I would take it in my stride. Anywho, so I broke up with him, and during the season of being broken up, I told you I wanted to get married. I wanted the whole full 9, and it became clear to me that it's not gonna work. He's kind of waxing worse, and he's not even proposing marriage, and I'm like, what, 20, I'm like 20, like what, 6 now, going on 27. I can't, like, this guy, I'm gonna turn 30, still his girlfriend. I'm not about to date a guy for a decade before we get married. I'm not doing it. So after we broke up and he passed me that kind of shade, I was like, whatever. Went to my girl's 25th birthday. I told you guys that I got evangelized today. More or less, she told me about soul ties. After, not she, but my friend's friend, right? After this whole soul tie conversation happened, it stuck on me. It hung. It sat, swung left to right like a pendulum, and I couldn't let it go. It convicted me of sexual sin. When I was reading on it, the gospel was constantly being given, right? I, however, never ever really truly repented until much later. But conviction was there, and when conviction is there, the Holy Spirit is hovering around you, right? He is not yet in you, but he is around you, convicting you of sin. And anywhere where the Holy Spirit is at, he will be warding off some nasties. So the devil tried really hard to prevent my salvation. He tried really hard to block me from walking on, because he was successfully destroying women in this way through men who just go monstrous, and yet they end up married to them anyway, right? How the devil essentially caused me to, or was trying to take away my ultimate response to Jesus, was through another guy, right? Here it is that I'm at this party, leave conversation about soul ties is had. I'm convicted, but I'm not yet saved. I then go on training in the office, right? Like a couple of months prior, I had gone to train, not immediately at that stage, but a couple of months ago, I had gone on training in the office. And go training, I met this absolutely like just beautiful alpha male, gorgeous human individual. Let's call him Sizwe, right? Sizwe was such a gentleman. He was such a great guy. He was so well spoken. He was new in the company. He had just started working for MTN, and we had chemistry. I liked him. I was unhappy with my ex, remember? I liked him, and I had gotten to a point. Now, before we even talk about the situation with Sizwe, I was at a place where I wanted to leave my ex, right? Before, now let's backtrack. Remember, we're broken up with my ex here, but before we broke up, because of that stunt that he pulled, I knew that I wanted to get out. I wanted to leave because something in him was changing. And something told me one time when I was thinking that the only way that I'm gonna get out of this is through another man. Like, I cannot imagine, because I've tried in the past, that I'm gonna break up with this guy, be single for a year, and then only start to date again and see if maybe I can end up married to a guy. I'm not gonna prosper, because every time I try to leave, I'm wazi. So the only thing that's gonna conquer this guy, the only thing that's gonna conquer my ex-boyfriend, at that stage he was my boyfriend, is for me to fall in love somewhere else, such that there would be a much stronger, haughtier feelings in me set that would overwhelm whatever it is that causes me to constantly go back to him. At that stage, I had no idea that the thing that made it literally rough and near and impossible for me to get out of a situation that I knew I had to get out of, I had no idea that it was spiritual. Because remember, my ex was already at that stage manipulating me with witchcraft to stick around. Remember that guy from KZN who told my ex that a very powerful man is going to give you a run for your money? Ever since then, my ex had been putting witchcraft on me, basically to keep me sticking around. Don't ever leave me. I told you guys that he messed up even with our sex. Sex started to hurt. It was painful. And that was all witchcraft. I did not know at the time it was witchcraft. I just thought that my body was starting to do funny things and changing on me, right? Very well. I could not get out. Every time I would leave my ex, I would just be drawn right back in, right? And I did not know it was spiritual manipulation, but something inside me said the only way that you're going to successfully prosper to get out of this relationship is through another man. Like, you have to fall in love somewhere else and literally dump your boyfriend for another guy, and you have to be in love with him, and the two of y'all have to be trying to do something into the future. Shortly after that thought process in me, the devil was trying for my soul the very same time that God was trying for my soul. Okay, because indeed it was true that the only way I am going to get out of this was through a man. I had no idea that that man was Jesus. I had to fall in love with another man. I had to have somebody that was more powerful in my core to keep me with him than my ex. I needed something that was more powerful than whatever Nonsi was doing to me. I didn't know that Nonsi was doing anything to me, but my spirit knew that another man and him only was the only way out of this relationship. I had to have an immediate transition over. So no rebound, no gap in the middle. I can't take a break in between relationships, because during that gap, I'm going to go back. I just knew it. And it was right. Whatever that gut feeling that I got was from God. He was telling me, you're not going to get out of this relationship. Forget it. To this guy. Just like your friend, you're going to go on right ahead. Well, in the future, my girl, it happened later on, the pregnancy of my friend who wanted to get out of a relationship. She wanted to get out, and she rather fell pregnant. The other one that was dating the non-romantic guy wanted to get out, but she fell pregnant. Literally, that was just, that was something that I would observe. The one with the girl that fell pregnant, that was the friend of my ex, right? That happened while we were still together, but the one with my best friend happened once I was already born again in Christ. Okay, I had observed already a case of that nature, and I was like, the only way is if it's through a man, and that was God speaking. God was speaking. He was telling me another man is the only way out, and Mina, because I was not yet saved, I went on right ahead to conclude that maybe it's what that prognosticator, that divine Nawako KZN said, that a very powerful man is going to give my ex a run for his money. Why would he say that? I spoke in my previous past that sometimes psychic soothsayers, diviners, they prophesy the truth. Indeed, Simon the sorcerer prophesied the truth, and he was rebuked for a spirit of divination. So sometimes people operating in a filthy spirit can prophesy a truth of what's going to happen in the future. And so me, I went and again, I'm not born again at this stage, so I remembered the prophecy of that diviner or that numerologist, whatever. I remembered that man saying that a very powerful man is going to give my ex a run for his money. I then was busy thinking, the only way out of here is through a man, another one that I'm going to fall in love with. There's no way that I can have a break in the middle. And I'm thinking that that man is probably going to be some boyfriend, not realizing that Jesus was telling me the only way out is through someone more powerful than this guy. Just as that prognosticator said, All right, why would that diviner numerologist guy say give you a run for your money? What under heaven would be giving a person a run for their money? When a woman wants to leave, she wants to leave, she wants to leave. Like, is that basic? Let it go. But obviously that guy was saying there's going to be something holding this woman hostage, unable to get out of a relationship, and there is a power that is needed to get her out. He did not know himself that he was prophesying redemption. He had no idea that he was prophesying a future of a walk with Jesus, a powerful one. He had no idea that he was basically being told through his divination gift, that is a thwarting of this gift of the Holy Spirit. He was used to successfully predict or prophesy over a woman that lo muntu lona, you're not going to prosper ugumshia unless you get a power that is the power above powers, the name above all names, because the thing that he's holding you hostage with is spiritual, and because it is spiritual, it can only be brought down with spiritual weapons. I had no idea that was happening, but I nonetheless had a very strong conviction that I gotta leave my boyfriend for another guy, and that's the only way I'm gonna prosper, to go on and marry someone else, because la uncle comfortable. So after that thought, I then went on training one day, go office in Crenshaw. I was late. I got to the office late at like 9, right? My colleague, who was an administrator at the time for our team, was like, Karaba, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in training, because like that's what she does. She basically books training for everybody. She's like, you're supposed to be in training. What are you doing? I was like, oh my goodness. And I ran to Constantia, which is across the office building. Drove quickly there. Arrived at like 9:30, going on 10. A good almost hour late for training. Feeling like a bag of trash. I get there and I wallop in there like a little froggy, sweating on my nose because I've been running. And the only place where I could sit, because I was late, everybody had already been placed and they'd already given introductions and everything, was a table that only had 2 guys sitting at it, and every other table was filled with people. And I walk there all flustered. I'm apologizing to the trainer. I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry I'm late. And there then is this just gorgeous, beautiful man in the corner sitting at that particular table. And he stands up and pulls out a chair for me quietly to basically be like, it's okay, you're late, we get it, come sit. Yo guys, yes, this guy, hot flushes. He was so beautiful and he was such a gentleman. And remember, I'd only ever been with these random unchivalrous random dudes before my ex. And every time I wanted to leave my ex for someone else, no one ever compared to his level of chivalry. Nobody ever compared to his level of romancing of me. My ex was a gentleman in a way that no one had ever proven himself worthy. Hard to leave, therefore. A kind of man to open doors, buy flowers, buy chocolates, take you on trips, really just go out of his way, extra mile to make a woman feel absolutely adored. And I met another black man that was the type to open doors, pull out chairs that you might sit on, and he looks like he might even be flower buying. It calmed me down in all of my flustered state when I arrived late. There was a those name tags or whatever, those that you write your name on, those name boards that they put on you. What training? His was written. Let's say his name was, I want to give the person a normal name now, man. All these ones that I keep on coming up with. Let's say Zama. Yeah, let's say his name was Zama, right? He takes his name tag, right? And he shifts it to the side as I'm sitting there, just basically trying to calm down from all of my sweaty state. He takes his name and he shifts it to the side, basically hinting to me, saying, my name is Zama. As that guy was, he was so hot. He was so hot. And on top of that, he was such a gentleman, and he flips his card over and is like, without talking, because of course the facilitator, the trainer's busy talking training, so you can't be like, Zama. He flips his card over and he's like, and I read it and he's like, Zama. At which point I then grab the marker and the card that is in front of me, and then I write my name down, Karabo, and then I show it to him and I'm like, I'm Karabo. And then he's like, nice to meet you, but without speaking, like gesturing with his lips, nice to meet you. And I was like, very well. And then he grabbed a course pack and gave it to me, opened to the part where it is that we all were at, and was like, this is where we are in the whole thing. And that's basically how I met this incredibly amazing man. And I was like, what? Just when I'm busy thinking, only way that I'm gonna get out of this relationship, I meet this dude. And I thought it was providence, if I tell you. Let's move to the next part.